What up, pilots? Here we are again, going over some cards coming up from the new GDO 3 that will definitely either be a sleeper or a banger in our upcoming format. And right now, this card needs no introduction, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I feel like if you run purple and it's Tekkadan or it's ping related, whether it be blue or red, this card is gonna have to be included in everyone's list. Come on over, let's talk about it. Barbatos Adapt. This card is going to change a lot of the way that blue purple ping plays. It might even start to enable uh, red purple a lot more as well, which I have lists at the end of the video, like always, for both iterations. But in both decks, this card is a 3 or a 4 of at minimum. If you're ever going to include this card, you don't put this at a 1 or a 2 of. In the past, we did go with cards like Anksha. Maybe they saw 2, and then recently they've seen an increase to 3 or 4 per deck. If that card is that good, then this is even better. Yes, it has a different stat line at 2-4. And if you decide to just ping this card, it's a 2-3, making it just a little bit weaker than Anksha. However, its strength lies in two places. Two places. One, it's linkable with Mikazuki, which means we can attack right off the riff, making this, if you don't ping this, a 2-5. No, 4-5. 4-5, sorry. Which is pretty damn good. And you can ping stuff. So effectively making it a 5-5 if you attack into the thing that you pinged, because you already got a point of damage on it. So those numbers are pretty good. But not only that, right? But it's the fact that it can ping anything on the board. It doesn't matter the level. It doesn't matter the orientation. It could be standing. It could be sitting. It doesn't matter. It can be sideways in hell for all I care. But it'll deal that 1 point of damage. And a lot of cards right now are gate kept behind either needing to be rested or be a certain level or already have a certain low AP value. And then you can start to deal that damage to the HP. But this card, it's rated E for everyone. It will ping anything that you can see on the board already. So that's already a game changer in and of itself for purple. But then when you start to combine it with other cards, it just gets ridiculous. So let's go on over to some of our makeshift deck lists on Wing Table. Shout out to Wing Table. We have what I would consider my new working innovation for purple with Sananju. I'm working towards utilizing the suppression from fourth form and then Sananju to be able to close out the game. And as we play this back and forth control game with a color that's not white for once, we just have access to a bunch of ping and a bunch of little dot damage to everything on the board. Man, woman, child, everybody can catch a bullet today. So we've gone with a couple things to let us ping and draw and take advantage of what this package already kind of wanted to do with Quibbly, because there are purple-red lists that feature Quibbly, and I just wanted to take it in a different direction, and I think Full Frontal and Sananju do just a good enough job to close out the game, especially if you do the suppression correctly, get them down to like 2 or no life, and then just close out the game with Sananju, unblockable damage. It just feels bad. But we're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about Barbatos Adept, and it just lends itself to so many facets, not only in this deck, but in Blurple, like which I'll go over in a second. But yeah, once again, this card being able to pair and deal damage to shields at the moment's notice while also damaging another unit that might be standing or sitting. This might also give you reasons to get rid of blockers, maybe the blockers on its last life, or it has 5 or more HP, and then you can start to chip it down a lot easier without having to mess with the orientation. So I want to talk about it so bad because it is my pet deck for next format is Blurple. Blurple got opened up so much in the fact of Adept now, because now we can start to run cards that may have been a 1 or 2 of in the past and run them in multiples, just because we no longer have to wait for our opponent to swing with something and put it in danger in order to kill with it. We can start to manipulate the board a lot better. So take, for instance, one of my favorite combos already. Filthy Ilfrith is usually always on the board. That guy causes problems for a lot of people. 2/4 blocker that you can play early, survive 0, yada, yada, yada. You know the Cinderella story, right? But you get to do stuff like play Adept and then play Nihil Aragama and then rest in Ilfrith. That's major in and of itself. There were so many times over the weekend when I played at the New Type Challenge that I played this card, and yes, they had the Rick Diaz, right? Yes, they had the little units that got on my nerves that I wanted to get rid of. But it always never failed that at least once a game I wanted to play this card, and then they were sitting on something with 4 health like an Ilfrith that just would have, if wasn't there, would have won me the game immediately on the spot. I did win a lot this weekend, but it definitely would have helped had I been able to whittle down things like that and control the board a little bit better. It also makes cards like regular Tall Geese from GDO2 a lot better, because you find yourself often not having something on the board with 2 or less HP anymore, since a lot of people have dropped Zowort from the list. So being able to ping something, put it down to 2 or less, and make it even more targetable by a lot of effects like Tall Geese or like Nahel is super important. And then one of the big things that really drew me to this is everyone has always questioned, what do you do in the face of a standing freedom? Unpaired, 4/6, not even Armoro can rest them. Well, wrong. You can do it now, right? You can ping with Barbatos Adept on a standing unpaired freedom and then Armoro Ray it. Goodbye. And most of the time, that's people's top end of the deck. So when they start getting up to there, they should have already taken significant damage, allowing you to be able to rest something like that instead of having to contend with it. Why contend with it when we can just rest it and then just keep going face? Because this is usually their whole turn when they play Freedom. That's usually their whole turn. It's pretty expensive. And yeah, unless you want to burn your EX resource or you're already at 7, then you got to do some extra stuff, or that's the only card for your turn. So Armor Ray becomes even more valuable now, because now he can truly touch anything in the game. And at first you would have had to do this with Anksha in some weird way. They would have to block, and then you get Anksha or try and run into it with a unit or anything like that. But now you can start to put pressure on it with Adept, right? And then swing with something and scare them into not wanting to block or block, because now on top of that, if they block and it survives, then you can still drop your Unctions or your gun tanks. So it just changes a lot of sequence plays and also makes cards like Siege Ploy a lot more live. Even if you just ping their thing and then pass turn or anything like that, now Siege Ploy is live. It's always live, but now you can actually do this on your own too. You don't have the Armoro on your turn, play Adept and then play Siege Ploy. Right now it is at 1. However, I'm still playing around with these numbers. This is not the perfect 50. I need the cards. I like to play test in real life. Simulators don't really do it for me, so I'm just waiting. But in the meantime, we got to do something with these thoughts, right? But Siege Ploy is a really cool card and will start to come in way more handy when you can take a standing unit And that's huge, right? Paired, maybe even if you pair the zero, like an unpaired zero is at 7, you could drop double adepts into Siege Ploy and do what you can to get rid of it. But, at first that wasn't afforded to us. Now that we can target standing units and start to manipulate them a lot better, it's going to change the way a lot of decks have to defend and actually be aware of what they put on the board. Now you're trying to swarm the board. Yes, please give me more targets to hit with this while they're standing. It's fine, because then it makes it even more scary for you to swing with these things. It just works out. So hopefully in the future, this card will see. Hopefully in the future, this card will see a plus variation. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was a rare plus that was super expensive. Because not only is the artwork sick, but the card is just universally good. Even if you don't have another unit to your name, being able to play this, ping itself, and ping something else that's standing or resting, it doesn't matter. But being able to ping stuff standing makes your opponent have to double think about swinging with it, dependent on what color you're going against. Because now with Barbatos Adept, let's go back to the Sinanju list. Just red in general gets to play Adept, and then stuff like Battle of Aces. You were standing, right? I would have had to have produced a Kshatriya in this color or played a Marita or anything like that and pepper that damage in order for Battle of Aces to become live and better and usable, right? Well, now you can drop the Adept, and then if you want to, try and get rid of the problem right now, right? Choose one unit and deal 3 damage to it. So that means for 2 on your Battle of Aces and 2 on your Adept, you deal a total of 4 damage to a standing unit. Come on. If that doesn't sound good, think about this. Most mid-sized units have about 4 to 5 HP, and some poor souls have 5 HP max when paired with their pilot, because most pilots are +1. The ones that are relevant anyway are +1 to HP and 2 to AP. So dealing 4 raw damage for 4 resources, right? 2 for the Adept and 2 for the Aces. But that's a lot of damage. That's a lot. Yes, it's 2 cards out of your hand, but that is a lot of damage. And at first you used to have to wait for this card to be enabled through either damage done from your opponent attacking into stuff, or you cleverly using all around attack or anything, right? But now you can Adept, play some other stuff, and then leave 2 up and pass turn. And then when your opponent starts trying to do kind of tricky stuff, then you hit them with the Battle of Aces, because now it has damage on it. And then couple that with Fatal Strike being able to deal damage out of the burst as well. Like this deck just peppers damage everywhere. And then this being able to get it free while you're standing is very scary. So that's already 2 decks, 2 different color combinations with purple that shows superior uses of just this card being able to ping something while standing. And that is the highlight of this, right? Last time it was lane aim and how much high maneuver affects that, right? Well, now it's just about the fact that this can ping stuff standing and enable things that weren't possible in the past. For those who are saying that GDO3 might not make a splash, the entire set might not make a splash, but I know it's cards like this that just enable strategies even better and harder that were hinted upon in the past now come to the forefront because of cards like this. Pilots, if this doesn't change something, then I don't know what will. Tune in next time where I'll go over a bunch of other cards for the rest of the set until we get to the release of GDO3, I'm going to be doing this. And for those hunting for STO7 and '08, good luck. And if you got the hookup, holla if you hear me. Peace, pilots.